everyone, welcome to Microbiological Insights. Today in this video we will be talking about the general introduction of microbiology. What is microbiology? Micro means small, bio means life and logos means science. So it is the science dealing with the study of small life. Or simply we can tell it is the study of microscopically small living organisms such as bacteria, archaea, viruses, fungi, prions, protozoa and algae. And what are the topics you will learn in this subject microbiology? You can study about the classification, the structure of the microorganism and how it can distribute in the nature. And you can also study about the reproduction, metabolism and the application of microorganisms in various fields. And these microorganisms are present ubiquitous in nature. Ubiquitous means it can present everywhere in the nature. It can present in the soil, water, air, deep cold ocean, ice, seawater, hot springs, food, and it can also seen in our human gut. And what are the branches of microbiology? The first one is the bacteriology. Bacteriology means it is the study of bacteria. The second one is the virology. Virology means it is about the study of viruses. Mycology means the study of fungi. Parasitology means the study of parasites. Phycology or algology means the study of algae. Nematology, study of nematodes. Immunology means it is the study of immune system. Protozoology means it is about the study of protozoans. And let us move on to the role of microorganisms. The microorganisms play a very important role in different fields. The first one is about the nutrient cycling. Nutrient cycling is nothing but a cycle in which the nutrients move from the physical environment into the living organisms, and after that these nutrients are again recycled back to the physical environment. So it is a cycle process. So we can call it as the nutrient cycling. Then we move on to the biodegradation. It is the naturally occurring breakdown of organic matter with the help of microorganisms such as bacteria or fungi. These microorganisms also detoxify the toxic waste from our environment. So it plays a very important role in this biodegradation process. Most of the microorganisms are involved in the food spoilage. Some of the food spoilage causing microorganisms like Bacillus, Geobacillus, Pseudomonas erwinia, Clostridium species. Then we move on to the fermentation process. Fermentation is an important process in the microbiology. Some of the fermented foods are yogurt, pickles, beer, wine. Some examples of microorganisms which causes the fermentation is Lactobacillus, Pediococcus, Leconostoc. Then these microorganisms also plays a very important role in the antibiotic production. Some of the well-known antibiotics like bacitracin, amphotericin B, erythromycin is produced by the bacterial species. Bacitracin is produced by the Bacillus subtilis. Amphotericin B is produced by the Actinomyces, Streptomyces nodosus, and erythromycin is also produced by the Actinomyces, Streptomyces erythraeus. In the genetic engineering field also microorganisms plays a very important role. What is genetic engineering? Genetic engineering is a process of using rDNA technology to alter the genetic makeup of an organism. Why the scientists altered the genes of the microorganism? Through genetic engineering only we can create the pest resistant crops, stress tolerant crops, and we can increase the yield of the product also. Next we will see about the important characteristics of the microorganisms. When we talk about the size of the microorganisms, these microorganisms are less than 0.1 millimeter in diameter. So we need a microscope to view these microorganisms. Microorganisms exist as unicellular, multicellular or cluster forms. The microorganisms may be beneficial or harmful. The beneficial microorganisms are non-pathogenic in nature, and the harmful microorganisms we call it as the pathogenic microorganisms. Depending upon the type of the cell, it may be prokaryotic or eukaryotic in nature. We will discuss this topic in later, okay? And depending upon the movement of the organism, the organisms are classified as motile or non-motile. Motile means it can move from one place to another with the help of flagella. Non-motile means it lacks flagella, so it cannot move from one place to another. And depending upon the oxygen requirement, the microorganisms are classified into either aerobic or anaerobic. Aerobic means it can live in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic organisms means it lives without the presence of oxygen. Then we will see about the type of microorganisms. The microorganisms are classified into 5 major categories. The first one is the bacteria, the second one is the archaea, the third one is the fungi, the fourth one is the protozoa, and the fifth one is the virus. The fungi is again classified into 4 categories. The first one is the yeast, the second one is the yeast-like fungi, the third one is the mold, and the fourth one is the dimorphic fungi. Let us see this classification of microorganisms in detail. First, we will see about the bacteria. The bacteria is the largest domain of the prokaryotic organisms which is present in the nature, okay? And these bacteria are unicellular in nature. That is, it is made up of only a single cell. And regarding the motility, it may be motile or non-motile in nature. And the bacteria are classified into 2 groups based on the Gram staining method. The first one is the Gram positive, the second one is the Gram negative bacteria. You can see the picture, differentiate both the Gram positive and Gram negative in the Gram staining process. The first one is the Gram positive bacteria which appears as purple in color. The second photo is the Gram negative bacteria which appears as red in color. When we talk about the shape of the bacteria, it may be cocci, spiral or bacilli. Cocci means it is the round shaped bacteria. Spiral shaped bacteria. Then again the bacilli. Bacilli means it is the rod shaped bacteria. The cocci shaped bacteria may be diplococci, staphylococci, streptococci, tetrad or sarcinae. What is diplococci? Diplococci means 2 bacteria arranged together means we can call it as diplococci. The best example for diplococci is Diplococcus pneumonia. The next one is the staphylococci. Staphylo means bunches. So if the round shaped bacteria occurs in bunches means we can call it as staphylococci. The best example for staphylococci is Staphylococcus aureus. Strepto means chains. So if the cocci or round shaped bacteria are arranged in one plane as a chain means we can call it as streptococci. The best example for streptococci is Streptococci pyogenes. So if 4 cocci shaped bacteria arranged together means we can call it as tetrads. What is sarcinae? Sarcina is nothing but a cuboidal arrangement of 8 round shaped bacteria arranged together. So we can call it as sarcina. The example for sarcina is Sarcina ventriculi. Then when we talk about the rod shaped bacteria means it may be chain rods. Chain rod means Streptobacilli. The example is Bacillus anthracis, or it may appear as single flagellate rods. Then it may be a spore forming bacteria. The first one is the Vibrios. Vibrios means comma shaped bacteria. The best example is the Vibrio cholerae. The best example for the spirilla is Helicobacter pylori. Spirochete. The best example for the spirochete is Treponema pallidum. Then we move on to the algae. The algae is a eukaryotic microorganism, and this algae is also unicellular in nature or it may be multicellular in nature. Unicellular, the best example for the unicellular algae is diatoms, euglenophyta, dinoflagellates. And the best examples for the multicellular algae is giant kelp, brown algae. And regarding the motility of algae, this algae is motile or non-motile in nature like the bacteria. The algae is phototrophic, hemoheterotrophic, saprophytic or parasitic in nature. What is photoautotrophic? Photo means light. Autotrophic means it can synthesize their own food. So this photoautotrophic microorganisms synthesize their own food by utilizing the light energy. What is chemoheterotrophs? Chemo means chemical. Heterotrophs means these organisms cannot synthesize their own food. So these chemoheterotrophic microorganisms can obtain their energy from the chemical reactions and nutrients from preformed organic matter. What is saprophytic microorganism? Saprophytic means those organisms which depend on the dead or decaying organic matter. What is a parasite? Parasite means those organisms which depend on a living host. We can call it as the parasitic organism. Then when we talk about the reproduction process, the algae reproduce by both sexual and asexual process. These algae are usually green in color, and this algae is found in the oceans, rivers, lakes, ponds, brackish water, and it can also present in the snow. The brackish water have more salinity than the fresh water, but not as much as sea water. So it may formed as a result from mixing the salt water with fresh water. We can see the brackish water in estuaries where both the fresh water and seawater mixes together. Okay, and some of the macroscopic algae are red algae, green algae, and brown algae. Now you can see the pictures of the macroscopic algae. The first one is the marine red algae. The second picture is the brown algae, and the third one is the green algae. Then we move on to the fungi. The fungi is eukaryotic microorganisms, and it is aerobic one. And regarding the cellular structure of fungi, it may be unicellular or filamentous in nature. It is spore bearing and it lacks chlorophyll. The fungi are saprophytic or parasitic in nature. Some of the fungi are mutualistic. Mutualistic symbiotic means it can obtain nutrient from the living host while providing some benefit to the host. The fungi reproduce by both sexual and asexual forms. And depending upon the morphology, the fungi are classified into yeast, mold, yeast-like fungi, and dimorphic fungi. What is yeast? Yeast is unicellular in nature. The shape of the yeast is spherical or oval. The yeast reproduces by budding method. Then what is mold? Mold is a multicellular fungi. It can reproduce by producing large number of spores by asexual or asexual method. Yeast-like fungi. The best example for yeast-like fungi is Candida albicans. Examples for dimorphic fungi is Histoplasma capsulatum and Blastomyces dermatidis. Then we will see about the protozoa. The protozoa is a eukaryotic microorganisms. They are also unicellular heterotrophic microorganisms, so it cannot synthesize their own food. It depends on another host for their food. These protozoans are also motile in nature. They are parasitic. Protozoans, most of the protozoans are pathogenic. Regarding the reproduction, it may reproduce by both sexual and asexual forms. When we talk about the cell wall of the protozoa, it is made up of keratin or cellulose. The best example for protozoa is Leishmania major, which can cause the Leishmaniasis disease. This disease is transmitted by sandflies. You can see the picture of the Giemsa stained image of Leishmania major. Then we move on to the next important topic, virus. The virus are acellular in. This virus consists of proteins and genetic material. Genetic material means it contains either DNA or RNA, but one single virus cannot contain both DNA and RNA. And these viruses are inert outside of a host organism. Inert means it cannot multiply outside the host. So it needs a host to multiply. The host may be either a human cell or a microbial cell. The virions, prions, and virions are the examples of virus. Virions means it consists of a nucleic acid core, a protein coat, and an external envelope. What is a prion? The prions are infectious proteinaceous particles. The prions is a type of protein that can trigger the normal proteins in the brain to fold abnormally. So it can affect both the humans and the animals. It can cause the Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease or CJD to humans and mad cow disease to cattle, and viroid. Viroid is also a infectious virus. This is similar to a virus. It consists of only a short single strand of RNA, but it doesn't contain any protein coat. The only human disease known to be caused by a viroid is the hepatitis D. Till now we discussed about the introduction of microbiology. If you have any doubt in this topic, means you can write your doubts in the comment section.
If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, share, like and click the bell button. If you have any more doubts, you can write your doubts in the comment section below. Thank you.